What's up? Welcome back to my channel, or for the first time if you're new, I'm Sylvan, and today I'm going to be reacting to Mavuika's character teaser and trailer. I know I am nearly 2 months late on this, but better late than never, I suppose. And this is sort of part of a bit of a push I'm making to be a bit more committed to doing stuff that I want to on this channel. Feel free to check out the video I released earlier today. It's just an update video if you want to hear more about that. But right now, I'm here to react to and analyze Mavuika's teaser and trailer, starting with her teaser, A Light Through Time. We obviously have her and her sister here, so I imagine this will probably have to do with her past from 500 years ago. But with that, let's not delay things any further. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and let's get into it.
Hine's the only one who doesn't know. You should tell her yourself.
Oh, okay, so the plan's in motion. This is going to be
a sturdy foundation
when Mavuika tells Hine about her whole plan?
We're almost ready to eat, you two. I made your favorite stew for dinner.
Getting a glimpse of the family.
It's almost dinner time. Let's call it a day.
Look, Mavuika!
You were supposed to be listening to me.
Aww.
Don't be mad, sis. It's a bookmark. To save our place. Till next time.
That's cute.
Huh?
Come on, let's go eat.
Oh, that's fucking tragic.
I have something to tell you.
You're gonna head 500 years in the future?
Ooh, I love that twist.
You're just gonna die?
I'm loving these transitions.
I know I can't live that long, but there has to be a way for us to meet again one day.
And now we're in the future. Well, present.
I couldn't find anything about Hine. I'm sorry. I'm sure she lived a happy life, if uneventful in the end.
The home's gone. 500 years is a long time.
This book belonged to someone who helped my family a super long time ago.
Oh, this is how she gets the book.
We kept it safe for you.
Wow.
There's a bunch of old designs inside. Don't know what they're for.
That's fucking tragic. Yeah. That's...
Thank you. This means a lot to me. Why don't I walk you home? I'd like to thank your family, too.
Wow.
By
Okay.
the way, do you like stew?
It's my favorite.
Nice. Okay, so of course we open with the emotional gut punch. So overall, this is fairly straightforward. It's very focused. It is entirely dedicated to showing Mavuika's love for her family, and specifically Hine, her younger sister, and alongside that, to show the amount of grief and potential regret she may have for having effectively abandoned them to go 500 years into the future. And we immediately get the framing of this with this opening line, Hine is the only one who doesn't know. You should tell her yourself. It immediately tells us what the circumstances are, where we are, when we are, and what the focus of this teaser obviously is. Hine is the last person for Mavuika to tell about this. She had waited to tell Hine last, in all likelihood because she knew that Hine wouldn't take it well. But after that framing, we have a brief but wholesome moment just of her family, once again establishing what her life was like in the past. There are Saurians sleeping soundly, no obvious threats around, and Mavuika is talking with Hine, potentially reading from a book, it seems. Either way, it is the book that ends up with her in the future, but what she is saying is a house needs a sturdy foundation to withstand the elements. things that will lead into the fact that Hine becomes an architect. They're talking about how to build a house, what's needed for that. And whether this is Mavuika teaching this to Hine or just both of them learning together by reading a book or whatever, it's clear that what leads Hine to becoming a relevant but largely lost to time architect is moments like this, learning about it with her sister. And on top of that, the line talking about a house withstanding the elements, I feel can have several meanings. One that comes to mind is the fact that here we are seeing the idyllic home of Mavuika in the past, and later she returns to it in the present to find that it has not weathered the elements these last 500 years. It is nothing but ruins now. Barely anything is left. Another angle that can be taken if we want to go grander is the idea that Natlan is the house in this scenario and the elements is the abyss. And in that context, the foundation that is needed for Natlan to survive was the deal that Xbalanque made with Renova. But that might be a bit of a stretch for what they're intending here, just something that comes to mind for me. But then before we get too much of the two of them interacting, we have, I believe, Mavuika's mother speaking up, saying, "We're almost ready to eat, you two. I made your favorite stew for dinner." And he is excited, but she continues to just work on whatever she's working on. In this case, though we don't immediately know it, it's a little origami frog that she is making as a bookmark, and from what it seems, she's just drawing in the eyes as the last touch. Mavuika leans over to see what she's doing, and sort of mirrors what her mother said. "It's almost dinner time, let's call it a day." At which point, Hina seems to barely be listening and just goes, "Look, Mavuika," and shows off the little origami frog. At which point, we get this cute little interaction of Mavuika sort of playfully scolding Hine for not listening, but it's clear that they're just having fun. It's at this point that Hine explains that she wasn't just goofing off, she was making a bookmark so that they can keep their place in the book. Obviously, this is a bit of an excuse, but it's a cute one nonetheless, because we can see there are other bookmarks in here already. They don't necessarily need a special one, but it's a nice, cute little personal touch of a bookmark that also serves as an object to define the presence and touch of Hine within the book that we get later. And here is where the tragedy begins to come in. She's like, "Oh, it's a bookmark to save our place for next time." It's here where we once again get to the fact that Hine is the only one who doesn't know what Mavuika's plan is. She thinks that there will be a next time. And we can see that Mavuika has a conflicted expression in this moment. She knows that she has to tell Hine what is happening, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to upset her sister. And so she slowly starts broaching the topic by saying, "Come on, let's go eat." Not immediately correcting her, but saying, "I have something to tell you." And it's here that we cut to black for a moment and imply that the explanation was just given. And this middle portion of this teaser is visually my favorite just because of the cinematography. The first of which is the framing of these shots, which I like. We have Mavuika very deeply in the foreground. We can barely make out that it's her. Hine is across the table, clearly now distressed, having learned what Mavuika's plan is. But meanwhile, we have their mother, who is just sort of looking down at the table, blank expression. Obviously, she wouldn't be happy knowing that her daughter is going into the future and leaving them behind, basically. But as an adult, she can understand why Mavuika is doing this. So though she isn't stopping Hine from protesting, she also is not going to disagree with Mavuika's decision. We get this cool pseudo pan that is also just a cut to the other side of the table as we go into Mavuika's back and then out of Hine's. It's basically just shot reverse shot, but in a more interesting way. And one thing I find interesting here is I don't think we see their father ever in this teaser. And as far as I know, he didn't disappear or die or anything prior to now. So it might just be they're trying to keep things simpler, just have one parental figure at all in view at any point and not worry about it. But I find it interesting that he is absent, at least for us. It's possible that he is directly behind Hine right now and we just can't see him because of the framing of the shot. And as Hine continues to question this decision of her older sisters, we see the surroundings drastically begin changing as if in a time lapse. A visual representation almost of Mavuika dying and moving into the future, and her body disappears until it's just this symbol that she was wearing that begins to rotate as we see Hine inside of it. And as we do, we have Hine making a promise that she will find Mavuika one day. She knows she can't live that long, but she'll think of something. There has to be a way for us to meet again one day. As we learn in a moment here, she does her best to do that. It seems that the way she tries to do that is by leaving her mark on history, inventing things and building things that will be there and able to help Mavuika 500 years in the future, no matter how futile that is of a goal. But even then, we know that in the story, there is a moment where they do finally get to speak to each other, that wish is granted, even if it is very briefly. But as the symbol representing Mavuika moves to the future, we then appear in this shot of her in the present. The symbol on her zipper is different from the old one, but it shakes. It is sharing some connection with that past symbol in some way. But as we pull into this shot, we have Citlali step into the foreground, as she speaks up, telling Mavuika, "I couldn't find anything about Hine." Presumably Mavuika had tasked Citlali with looking into the past 500 years to see if she could find anything on her sister, but to no avail, it would seem. And as Citlali apologizes, she tries to assure Mavuika that I'm sure she lived a happy life, if uneventful in the end. And Mavuika doesn't have much of a response to this. In all likelihood, a lot of emotions going through her at the time. She wants to be able to learn the kind of life that her sister led after she left, but it seems impossible to do. She just did not leave enough of a mark on history. And so perhaps wanting to relive the memories, she returns home, or at least what is left of home. Nothing but some broken boards, but it's in this moment where she's in a familiar place made unfamiliar that she finds something that echoes the past. When I saw this little girl, I knew for a fact that they were mirroring Hine. The buildings may be different. The ones you know might have been destroyed and new ones built in their place, and the people you knew may be dead and gone, but that doesn't mean that they don't echo forward into the present. There are people who inhabit their legacies. There are people who reflect the people of the past, and this is one such case. This child, recognizing the Pyroarchon coming through, either themselves or tasked by their parents, rushes alongside their baby Saurian companion to give a book to her, one that belonged, as she says, to someone who helped my family a super long time ago, 500 years in fact, and that supposedly her family kept safe for her. It turns out that Hine did make an impact on the world, something that managed to survive 500 years. It just may not have been grandiose in nature. It's not like everyone knows the name of the great architect Hine, but there is at least one family that Hine helped enough for them to honor her wishes, to essentially get a message back to her sister. The impossibility of traversing 500 years to reunite was in some way made possible through helping a single family. And Mavuika takes the book. She flips it open to a page that is bookmarked and finds herself flipping open to find the old and tattered Origami Frog bookmark that her sister made 500 years ago. The page still marked so that Mavuika could return to it all this time later. Next time has come. When Hine said it, Mavuika didn't think there would be one. And Mavuika clearly has a moment here. She looks up at the child and sees her sister. She recognizes that in the new generation are people just like her and her sister. People to protect and take care of. And so with this realization, she takes the old origami bookmark and smiles, and she thanks the child. She clearly considers patting her on the head like she would her sister, but for whatever reason, decides to instead just pat their shoulder. "Why don't I walk you home? In a way as thanks. I'd like to thank your family too." She wants to show her appreciation to the family who has enabled her to, in the smallest of ways, reunite with her sister. And as we fade out, Mavuika asks the simple question, "By the way, do you like stew?" Seeing if that is another similarity between this child and Hine. And believe it or not, it's the child's favorite, which, as we know, was the same for Hine. I'm a big fan of this teaser. It hits a really good emotional mark, which is very much at the core of Mavuika as a character. She, like many of the Archons, is someone who has given up much for the sake of her nation and her people. Is that connection she had with her family, particularly her sister. But with that, I will now move on to the trailer, which, from what I've heard, should be a bit more of a fun vibe rather than the sad, tragic, but bittersweet nonetheless feeling that this teaser was. Now then, we have Mavuika's trailer next, Blazing Heart. I have not seen any clips from this, but I have heard that this supposedly is effectively in the form of a song, which is backed up by this thumbnail, and I'm personally excited to get into this to see what it is like. I love how all of the different heroes of the different tribes are here playing different instruments. I think that's real fun as a general framework of it, so let's get into it to see what they do with it. Alright, already starting with the muted guitar, very anime intro. Nice. Already liking the vibe of the song. I'm loving the lighting on this. And of course, this is a demo, so showing off her motorcycle. Alright, ooh. Okay, I'm gonna want to look over these lyrics. Going through the tribes. Saving a child. Ooh, okay. Interesting that nobody is playing the instruments yet. Nice. I love that this is basically just a music video. Throwing the glasses up. Oh, an eclipse. Hello, Xylonin. Kanich. Is this potentially the order that they awakened? Because they awakened ahead of time. Okay, no, Chaska's coming in, so not that. Never mind. God. Cool to see that the drums were actually syncing up there as far as I could tell. But the Abyss. I love the way that flame looked. Oh, the grasping hands. Yes. The flame banner, yes. Getting to show off the heroes a bit. This is a fucking anime opening. And her ult. Oh, that transitioned really fucking well. Jesus, she's fighting multiple heralds. Ride or die. The sun shining through the darkness. Fucking guitar solo. Fucking mic drop. Oh, but it burns into fire. Interesting. That's cool. I love that. That's fun. This really is, I'd say, 40% anime opening, 40% music video, 20% conventional demo. We start with this muted guitar I called out as she steps on, looking out at the sunrise. Based on the framing of this, is her singing, but much like much of the Xylonin trailer, I imagine that this is not meant to be a literal in-universe performance. This is more so of just a fun framing device for all of this. But nonetheless, let's take a look at these lyrics. When the night is closing in, and you feel the darkness growing, hope is fading every day. Speaking to the darkness of the abyss, the encroaching apocalyptic danger that constantly is threatening to overtake all of Natlan. That is the literal thing that it is referencing here. But of course, it can always be more generalized to more of just this general feeling of an oppressive darkness tearing away all hope. This is framing the life that Mavuika lives, the world she lives in, and the circumstances that she is forced to endure. And not just her, but everyone of her nation. As its leader, as its Archon, she embodies that. And as we have these lines, we have her pass by an ancient name, her hand sliding along the table near it, and it lighting up. And then we see her just looking over and passing by the various people of Natlan living their lives. In many ways, she is separate from them despite being their leader. She is from a different time, but she has come here to save them, to save everyone in Natlan, past, present, and future. But then, as we move into the next portion of the lyrics, we have Mavuika snap her fingers, igniting various flames around the people here. And it's within all this that we're getting glimpses of people and places from all of the tribes. And it's with this snap of the fingers, this ignition of the flame, that the lyrics take a turn. Rather than describing the ever-encroaching darkness and the loss of hope, it speaks that deep in her heart there is a fire glowing. No matter how deep and dark the abyss is, and no matter how much it encroaches in on me, my heart is still aflame. Light the spark and hear the engines roaring. And it's here where the song takes on a more rallying tone. There is little hope. The abyss seems impossible to defeat. Its darkness is ever encroaching. But I still have that flame within my heart I will not give up. I will glow within the darkness, and I am asking you to ride with me. Join me as a blazing flame that will burn away the darkness. Ride with me through the storm. Together we'll find a way. And with these lines leading up to what I guess is the chorus, Mavuika launches off of a cliffside once again, down towards a young girl being attacked by void creatures. Surrounded on all sides, no hope of escaping, but she is holding a flame, a representation that it isn't just the warriors, but everyone in Natlan who has that flame inside them, that glowing fire of defiance against the abyss. It's here where the energy of the song rises to, at this point, its peak. Starting off, Mavuika is alone with this call to action, but there are instruments surrounding her, ready for people to step up to the task. Let your flame burn brighter. Can't you see? It's now or never. The world is ending. You need to decide if you are standing up in burning defiance, burning bright with me, or letting go and leaving everything to die. This is our moment. Now is our time. So follow me to the finish line. Countless generations have set us up for this moment. There is no better chance than this one. Between the efforts of Mavuika and Xbalanque, and the power of Renova, and the power of the ancient names of all of the heroes of ancient past and the heroes of today, the finish line is in sight. You just need to stand up and run towards it with Mavuika. Let your soul awaken. Destiny is what we make it. Natlan has been destined to fall for hundreds of years to the abyss, and yet it has not, and it will not. We can make a destiny of our own. We can defy fate itself. Ride with me. Once again, that call out, that rally. Ride with me to victory. And as she throws her sunglasses up into the sky, we see the encroaching darkness beginning to blot out the sun itself. Even with this rallying cry, the end comes near. But it's here where the heroes arrive. Mavuika is not alone, and we build once more, each hero taking their position, standing firmly with Mavuika. And as the darkness of the abyss fully blots out the sun, there's this moment of quiet. We had this build, this rise to action, answered by others, this build, but comes back to near silence for a moment, as there's this moment of questioning if this can be done, if anything can be done. The sun is literally blotted out of the sky, but despite that, if you look closely, there is a shine of hope that ignites into a flame, and it burns brighter and brighter. And what it burns with is the faith of the people. When your faith is shaken, trust in me. That dawn is breaking. When you lose all hope, when you don't believe there is any way out of this darkness, I will show you the glimpse of light, the path forward. When your faith is shaken, I will show you the way to victory. I will show you that the dawn is breaking in this long night. And alongside this, we have this amazing visual of this burning flame, this embodiment of victory, of hope, that we see all of the heroes reach out towards desperately, only for Mavuika's hand to grasp it. And as she grasps it, she says, "Head into the light, I'm here by your side, I'll never let you go." As she raises the flaming banner of Natlan, holding on to the very hope of light and fire, she promises that everyone will follow her into the new day, the new dawn. No one is being left behind. She will not let anyone go. After all, in Natlan, no one fights alone. We go back into the chorus. This time, all of the heroes working together, one by one, taking out their enemies, fighting against the abyss. And Mavuika is among them. And it's here, underneath the dawning sky, Mavuika fights valiantly against a horde of the most powerful foes the abyss has to throw at them. It's ride or die, as she said, rise up tonight. And so it's this time when we look up to the sky, to the sun once more. The sun is piercing the darkness. We have found our ray of hope, our way to the finish line, and Mavuika promises a path to it. And it's here where we have a moment to show off the other heroes once more in a guitar solo, which is just super fun. It's great. It's really hype, and as the song cuts out, Mavuika drops the mic, but rather than hitting the ground, it merely turns to flame. This is really fun. It's about what I expected, but what I expected was for it to deliver on a really hype song, so it being what I expected is a good thing in this case. I, in many ways, wish I had seen this and reacted to this before I played the finale of the Archon quest, because this is a rallying cry, the song of hope and victory leading into that finale. It is a call to arms, a call to battle, a call for hope, and I'm just a big fan of that. It's super in line with Mavuika as a character, with the story of Natlan as a whole. It speaks to the valiant, undying courage and determination of Natlin as a people. But beyond that, I don't have too much more to say about this trailer itself, so I will leave it there. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment on your thoughts, and I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye.